Well, there has been a quite aggressive move, a bipartisan move at the government level. Chris Smith, Dodd, I mean, these are several people that I'm mentioning that have been very pivotal in trying to put together information acts that would enable journalists that are coming into the country to access information freely if it's critical to the government, that would enable a federal shield law that would protect U.S.-based journalists from state-imposed questions and the confidentiality of sources that in recent years we've seen several journalists having to come forward and testify and reveal their sources, which goes against what has been constructed in the U.S. Constitution on accessing information and the confidentiality of sources and so forth. Really, the First Amendment is something that we don't want to kind of churn back the hands of time. Additionally, there have been several cases in recent years of Arab-based journalists working within Arab countries that have come to the United States that have been interrogated at JFK. They've been detained, they have been turned back. Several cases of Iranian journalists that have come to the country to try to investigate whether or not it be political situations, whether or not their reporting be based on a political story. They have been detained, they have been questioned, and they have been turned away and returned back to their country. So there are several situations within the U.S. where Reporters Without Borders would like to remain very active in supporting, at a bipartisan level, any member of government that is trying to support free press. There is a case of Josh Wolf in California who was at a protest and was filming several protesters. He was forced to kind of give up his sources and to turn over his footage, which he refused to do. He spent, as you know, as many members know, several weeks behind bars and then was released. So these are cases that we are concerned about because these are citizens that are living in San Francisco. These are people that are living in the U.S. that are really being forced to give up information in a manner that has not really existed until recent years, and this current U.S. administration's policies towards journalists and getting access to information. The United States is not one of our predators of press freedom, but doesn't rank among the top 5 in terms of having a very kind of open and free policy towards journalists. We have an index, a World Freedom Index that comes out every year, and in those top 5 we have Scandinavian countries that are listed as relatively very open, honest, practical, independent exchange of information. It goes on very freely in those countries. And the United States is not in the high end. It tends to rank fairly in the middle, higher middle, in terms of its policies, and that's because of the recent cases that I've just mentioned to you where journalists are being harassed in the country.